Well, good morning on a beautiful homecoming morning. Let's get right to our business at hand. Please welcome the president of Morehead State University, Dr. Wayne Andrews.
Thank you very much, Keith, and good morning. What a beautiful day for homecoming at Morehead State University. Several of the folks over here asked who provided the weather. We know who provided the weather. We've got a big prayer team somewhere hiding off in the bushes, I think. On behalf of the Grotes and our entire university family, I'm pleased to welcome you here this morning for a very special and a little bit of an unusual event, and I'll explain that in a minute. At this point, I'd like to recognize any members of the Board of Regents that might be here. I saw Michael Harmon, our student regent. Where's Michael? Raise your hand. Michael's all the way in the back. Is there another regent present?
Laura's here.
Laura? Laura Pace is our staff regent. Thank you very much for being here, both of you. Dr. Grote will have an opportunity, of course, to recognize his family when he speaks here in a moment. A moment ago, I used the term unusual when I said this was a special and an unusual event because it's not often that a university president is permanently recognized more than 16 years after he or she leaves office. But that's exactly what we're going to do today as we finish the job of renaming Thompson Hall to Grote Thompson Hall. This building has been here for 82 years, so it's a pretty important symbol on this campus of lots and lots of things. I met Nelson, and I didn't mean to imply that Nelson was 82 years old, the same as the building. Well, I'm not even going to tell you how old he is, but he's close to the age of the building. Slightly younger, I might add. Emphasis on this slightly, he said. I met Nelson and Wilma when I first came to Morehead to interview for the presidency. Like you, I have found them to be warm and welcoming and very friendly people. They love this institution, and their love for it continues today as they support this place in so many, many ways. They served here as the first family for 5 years, but prior to that, Nelson was employed here as a department chair and a dean for 11 years. So they've had a long history with this fine place. I recall being told by other presidents as I came into this job, be wary of those who came before you. Sometimes it's not pleasant to have former presidents around. And I'm here to tell you it's been an absolute delight to have Wilma and Nelson in my life and in Sue's life. They've been nothing but supportive for us and always willing to provide compliments about what's going on this campus and never a criticism. I was very proud to recommend to the Board of Regents the renaming of this building, and even prouder that it was a unanimous endorsement by the board. Your printed program has the details on Nelson's involvement with the building and with other capital projects and with his vision when he was here as our president. He had the insight to seek funds for something that a number of years ago we didn't even know what it was all about. It was called fiber optics. Well, he made sure that they put a network on this campus that serves us well even today. In fact, Nelson told me one time, he said, you don't get much recognition for burying how many $1 million worth? $14 million underground. But it has made a huge difference in what we're able to do on this campus. I treasure his friendship, and I feel deeply honored to invite him to join in the unveiling of the namesake for this new building. Nelson, would you come forward and we'll do some unveiling together. Okay.
This is what it will look like with the signs and stuff.
Okay. At your command, Mr. President.
1, 2, and 3.
Oh, look at that. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, and then we'll do the actual sign here, which will be placed. Okay. Okay. Get hold of the back. Hey. Now I would like to present to you the namesake for this building, Dr. C. Nelson Grote, President Emeritus of Morehead State University.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that very generous introduction. I know it's chilly this morning. I promised Wilma that I wouldn't tell stories, which I am prone to do, and I'll be brief and stay with my script. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, one and all, I thought for this historic day that wearing Dr. Doran's blazer was appropriate. This is his blazer that I'm wearing today. He always had his special signature in his coat. After all, he's the one that gave me my first opportunity to work in higher education 48 years ago that has led to this particular celebration. I told Mrs. Doran that while I could walk into Adrian's coat, I could never fill his shoes. She liked that. I recall the university honored Dr. Doran when he was 80 years old as well. I'm glad this day has happened. While I'm young enough to enjoy it for a few years and old enough to appreciate its significance. I am beginning to think like the late George Burns, you know. I get up of a morning, read the obituaries, and if I don't see my name, I shave. This is a historic occasion for both the university and for me. Of course, I am honored beyond words to have my name added to Thompson Hall. I want to thank the Board of Regents for approving this action, and I'm grateful to you, Dr. Andrews, for your recommendation. This is indeed a special event for both Wilma and me, and as you know, her name is Grote too, and she deserves this honor as much as I do. Come stand here with me, Wilma. I don't know if everyone realizes at this moment that I am the only living person with his name on an MSU building, and I want to announce that I had the best administrative team in Kentucky while I was president. I want to thank Vice President Keith Capus for his assistance in working with the legislature as we secured capital funds and legislative approvals for projects such as this. I want to thank Vice President Porter Daly for his skillful effort in facilitating the approvals through state agencies and in managing the sale of bonds and the financing for all of our projects. I want to thank Vice President Mike Mincy and his staff for the research they did on student housing and for the creative designs of Field Hall, Mays Hall, and of course Thompson Hall that were completely remodeled during my term of office. I want to thank Joe Plank, the Director of Buildings and Grounds, for his diligent oversight of construction on the 3 residence halls, for the campus-wide tunnel project, for the design work on the second addition to Lappin Hall, which provides mostly laboratories. I want to thank Vice President John Philly for his steady leadership of academic programs and his insightful counsel during this important time in the history of MSU. I mention these key people for not only do they deserve to be recognized, but it also serves as a reminder that a president does very little individually unless he has a capable and creative support staff just like those that support Dr. Andrews. Of course, with so much going on, and it was a busy time, I could not have managed day to day without the unusual competency of my office staff. Carol Johnson, my administrative assistant, and Betty Philly, my personal secretary. I shall always be indebted to them. And while we were remodeling 3 residence halls and putting in a new infrastructure that we were benefiting from today, our enrollment was growing by leaps and bounds. Although a great number of people helped build our 55% growth in 5 years, the late Randy Wells was a key person who made that happen, and I want to recognize him today. I am so mindful that during this same busy period we dealt with some problems with NCATE resolved with full reaccreditation, as well as reaccreditation by the Southern Association. And I am grateful for all the leadership and hard work of many faculty and staff. I hope my name doesn't take anything away from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he was the Speaker of the House of Representatives at the time the vote was cast to put Morehead State, or our original institution, on this campus. Thompson Hall was one of the first buildings to be built on this campus. It is a proud building in the center of the campus, and one that has served thousands of students and who will serve thousands more in the future. It's quite an honor, one that I may not deserve, to have my name added to the sign on a building on this wonderful campus. I'm overwhelmed, I really am, by the assembly of persons here this morning. I've told a member of my friends that I had 8 of my family coming, and I hope there were at least an equal number of friends. And you have overwhelmed me. I had no idea that so many people would take time out of their day to share this honor. I especially want to thank the 2 hall directors that were hall directors over a long period of time when you add their services, and that of Jean Ruth Ann Harney, who just retired July 1st. Thank you so much for your leadership in this building, not only to protect the building, but the service you provided and the safety and welfare of the students. I see a number of my students that I had in class in 1960. And I hope, spoken to each of them, but if there's anyone here that I have not spoken to, I do want to say hello before you leave this morning. There are many retired faculty and staff and old colleagues here, but you haven't fooled me a bit, for I realize you didn't come to see me, but Dr. Anders has offered you a free lunch. And since I'm also on a fixed income, I know why you have to do that. And then I see dear, dear friends that Wilma and I have had and known and loved for 48 years. Believe that or not, that we have been here off and on for 48 years. There are new faculty and staff here and students that we look forward to getting to know them better in the coming years. I am pleased to see the number of students here. Student leaders like Terry Roberts and former student regent Brian Gay are here. I was always a friend of the student throughout my career. I can't overlook 2 of our wonderful cheerleaders, Allison Tinsley and Holly Stromgen, who are special friends of Wilma and mine. And I believe Allison has her mom and dad and sister here with her today. They're special friends, and they, I'm sure, have other colleagues here, the nation's best cheerleaders. And I also recognized a whole group of guys came down that are our basketball players and Coach Tindall. And Wilma and I can't wait, by the way, to begin the season. We know you're going to win the OVC championship this year. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone for being here, especially those, and I know 2 or 3 of you came long distances. And for those who are residents here in the hall, Thompson Hall this year, Wilma and I would like to meet you. I've tried to shake hands with a number before the program. You can leave here, you students that live in this hall can leave here saying that you shook hands with the person whose name is on a building, which no other students on campus can say. And if I have overlooked anyone by name or category, I apologize. Before we leave this spot, I want to personally thank my family for their support over the many years, and fortunately some of my immediate family are here this morning. My son Mark from California and my daughter Jan from the state of Washington and her family did not come because of time and distance. However, our Kentucky-based family are all here, and I want you to come forward and stand near Wilma and me on either side of us, propping Wilma up, and me as I present each of you. Will the audience please hold your applause until all my family have been introduced? My daughter Carol and her husband Skipper Vinsel from Lexington, you can come, attended Breckenridge next door, graduating in the same class, so they're Breck Brats. Carol and Sonny's son, Matt Jones, came from Lexington, where he is a financial advisor for Smith Barney, and he brought his special friend, Whitney Woodring, with him, who is a sales representative for WKYT. Carol and Sonny's daughter, Jamie Ireland, and her husband Joseph are here from Fort Thomas, where they both recently graduated from Chase Law School. Jamie and Matt's father, an important member of our extended family, Sonny Jones, is here with his wife Donna. I am so proud, come up here, I am so proud of all of them and appreciate so much that they would share this day with Wilma and me. Of course, my dear wife and partner Wilma, who has been my pride and joy for 60 years this January. How about that? She's especially enjoying having 2 of her 4 grandchildren here on this occasion. You grand folks know how she would feel. There are many here that I would like to speak to, and if you want to speak to persons you don't see every day, we hope you'll mix and mingle as long as you would like. And when our visiting is over, we need to enjoy homecoming together. Let's have the tailgate lunch and go watch the Eagles beat Jacksonville. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you all for coming. I shall always be honored by your presence.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our program this morning. We thank you so much for coming, and we're very, very proud of Dr. Grote and Wilma and their family. And to those students who have been awakened by the great commotion, go back to sleep.